Welcome to this webcast on an overview of the Alberta Human Rights Act. My name is Owais Hikmet and I am at the Alberta Human Rights Commission. I will be presenting this webcast with Sushila Sami, who is the Diversity Specialist for the Alberta Human Rights Commission. The human rights legislation referred to in this webinar is the Alberta Human Rights Act. The Commission referenced is the Alberta Human Rights Commission. If you are viewing this webcast from outside of Alberta, or if you are in Alberta but from an organization that falls under federal, other provincial, or territorial jurisdiction, check with the federal, provincial, or territorial human rights legislation in that jurisdiction for more information. We would like to advise you that the information presented in this webcast is not legal advice. It is information provided to increase your understanding of the Alberta Human Rights Act. This is a copy of the Alberta Human Rights Act. In this webcast, we will look at the background to the Act, the areas and grounds in the Alberta Human Rights Act, and their application. We will now hear from Sushila, who will cover some information on the Alberta Human Rights Act.
Thank you, Owais. Alberta Human Rights Act. Every province and territory in Canada has human rights legislation to protect its citizens from discrimination. The current human rights legislation in Alberta is called the Alberta Human Rights Act, which protects the equality rights of Albertans and protects them from discrimination in certain areas based on specific grounds. Over 80% of businesses located in Alberta fall under provincial jurisdiction, and therefore the Alberta Human Rights Act. The remaining 20% of businesses fall under federal jurisdiction and the Canadian Human Rights Act, which is administered by the Canadian Human Rights Commission. Over 80% of human rights complaints made in Alberta are employment-related on the grounds of employment practices and employment applications and advertisements. Approximately 50% of the complaints are made on the grounds of mental and physical disabilities. The Alberta Human Rights Act establishes the Commission to carry out functions outlined in the Act. Human rights legislation is primacy legislation. This means that if there is a conflict between human rights legislation and other provincial laws, the human rights legislation takes precedence. The purpose of the Act is to ensure that all Albertans are offered an equal opportunity to earn a living, find a place to live, and enjoy services customarily available to the public without discrimination. The Act recognizes that all persons in Alberta are equal in dignity, rights, and responsibilities. The Alberta Human Rights Act prohibits discrimination on the following grounds. Race, which means belonging to a group of people related by common heritage. Religious beliefs refer to a system of belief or worship and conduct and includes native spirituality. Color refers to the color of a person's skin. Gender refers to being male, female, or transgender. A further explanation of gender is provided later. Gender identity refers to a person's internal, individual experiences of gender which may not coincide with the sex assigned to them at birth. A person may have a sense of being a man, a woman, both, or neither. It is important to note that gender identity is not the same as sexual orientation, which is also protected under the Alberta Human Rights Act. Gender expression refers to the varied ways in which a person expresses their gender, which can include a combination of dress, demeanor, social behavior, and other factors. Physical disability refers to any degree of physical disability, deformity, malformation, or disfigurement that is caused by injury, birth defect, or illness. Examples include epilepsy, amputation, lack of physical coordination, visual, hearing, and speech impediments, and physical reliance on a guide dog, wheelchair, or other remedial devices. Mental disability refers to any mental disorder, developmental disorder, or learning disorder, regardless of the cause or duration of the disorder. Examples include bipolar disorder, depression, and schizophrenia. Age is defined in the Act as 18 years and older. Ancestry means belonging to a group of people related by a common heritage. Place of origin is the place of birth within Canada or outside of Canada. Family status means being related to another person by way of blood, marriage, or adoption. Marital status refers to being married, single, widowed, divorced, separated, or living with a person in a conjugal relationship. Source of income refers to a lawful source of income. It includes those on social assistance and those on assured income for the severely handicapped, AISH. Sexual orientation refers to protection from differential treatment based on a person's actual or presumed sexual orientation, whether homosexual, heterosexual, or bisexual. An explanation of the ground of gender. The ground of gender includes not being discriminated against because of being male, female, or transgender, not being discriminated when a woman is pregnant or when on maternity leave, and that she be accommodated as needed, and that men, women, and transgender individuals are not sexually harassed in workplaces, in tenancy, and when receiving goods and services.
Which of these are protected grounds in the Alberta Human Rights Act? A. Gender. B. Race. C. Mental disability. D. Political belief. Or E. Age. The correct answers are A. Gender. B. Race. C. Mental disability. And E. Age. D. Political belief is not a protected ground in the Alberta Human Rights Act. Here is another question to test your understanding on the Act so far. Which of these are protected grounds in the Alberta Human Rights Act? A. Gender identity. B. Criminal record. C. Ancestry. Or D. Sexual orientation. The correct answers are A. Gender identity, C. Ancestry, and D. Sexual orientation. B. Criminal record is not a protected ground in the Alberta Human Rights Act. So Sheila will now cover the protected areas in the Human Rights Act.
The Alberta Human Rights Act protects individuals from discrimination in the following areas: statements, publications, notices, signs, symbols, and other representation. This refers to the publication, issue, or display before the public of any statements, publications, notices, signs, symbols, emblems, or other representation that is discriminatory, shows an intent to discriminate, or is likely to expose anyone to hatred or contempt. Goods, services, accommodation, and facilities customarily available to the public are provided without discrimination. This includes services provided by municipalities, educational institutions, restaurants, hospitals, hotels, motels, inns, and all other organizations that fall under provincial jurisdiction. Tenancy refers to being denied occupancy of a self-contained residential dwelling unit or a commercial unit that is advertised or in any way represented as being available for occupancy by a tenant. It also applies to being discriminated on a term or condition of tenancy. Employment practices include refusals to employ or to continue to employ any person due to a protected ground and any term or condition of employment. Employment applications and advertisements refer to all aspects of employment, including the use of application forms, job advertisements, and written or oral questions asked during employment interviews. Membership in trade unions, employers' associations, or occupational associations applies when a person is excluded from becoming a member of a trade union, employer association, or occupational association, is expelled or suspended from membership, or is discriminated against as a member. Equal pay. Men, women, and transgender individuals doing the same work or similar work for the same employer must be paid the same wages. An employee of one gender cannot be paid lower wages than employees of a different gender when they do the same or similar work. For example, women entering non-traditional fields like carpentry, welding would have to be paid the same wages as men working in the same field with similar experience. Prohibitions. It is contrary to the Act to retaliate against individuals who made or are attempting to make complaints or have assisted in any way in the complaint process. That means an employer cannot take any negative action against an employee for making a complaint, trying to make a complaint, giving information about a complaint, or helping someone else make a complaint. For example, if an employee provides information as a witness in the investigation of a complaint, the employer cannot take any negative action against that employee for assisting in the investigation. The Act also prohibits individuals from making complaints with malicious intent that are frivolous, that is, with no merit whatsoever, or vexatious, made with the sole purpose of harassing another person. Now to Oves for another question.
Can an employer discipline an employee who complains about sexual harassment in their workplace? Yes or no? The answer is no. An employer cannot take any negative action against an employee for making a complaint about harassment in the workplace. You will now see a video called Charlie's Story, which is taken from the Commission's Discrimination and the Law videos.
I've been working there 2 years now, pumping gas, checking oil, doing the windshields, running the car wash, spraying the cars as they're going, taking the tickets and stuff. It's okay, I suppose. But I've been getting back into my religion, like the Indian religion, like the native ways. I've been trying to get back to the reserve a lot because I've been working with this old man. He's like an elder. He's been working with me. He told me I'm ready for the Sundance, but I'm supposed to work that weekend. So I went in to see the boss. Hey, boss.
Hey, Charlie, how's it going?
Not bad.
What can I do you for?
I need the weekend off.
You getting married or somebody died?
Neither. It's a Sundance.
A Sundance?
It's important to our religion.
That's a good one. I'm sorry, Chief, I can't let you go.
Andy said he'd switch with me. I switched with him last weekend when his sister got married.
Nope.
Why not?
Religion, Charlie? Come on. Have you got priests? Have you got churches? Sun worship's something the wife does when she's on holidays.
It's not sun worship, it's a Sundance.
Sundance, then. If you get the steps wrong, it'll probably rain all weekend, and I got a charity golf tournament. The answer is no. I need somebody here I can trust.
When he calls me chief, I don't like it. It's his idea of a joke or something. But this was different. I switched with Andy anyway and went to the Sundance. Man, was he ticked off. Told me if I did it again, he'd fire me. But there's another ceremony happening next weekend. I'm supposed to work. With anybody else, he'd let him switch. But with me, he just doesn't understand.
Charlie thinks his boss does not recognize his faith as a real religion. He may have reasonable grounds for a complaint. Under Alberta's human rights law, Native spirituality is a recognized religious belief. Also, his boss may have discriminated against him by making derogatory comments about Charlie's race. An employer has a duty to accommodate not only for religious beliefs, but also for family status, marital status, physical disability, mental disability, and gender, which includes pregnancy.
In the video Charlie's story that you just saw, Charlie was discriminated on the grounds of race and religious beliefs. The ground of religious beliefs in the Alberta Human Rights Act includes Native spirituality. This brings us to the end of the presentation on the Alberta Human Rights Act. I will now give you information on the Commission's resources that are available to you. We also have an information sheet that provides additional information related to the areas and grounds that are protected under the Alberta Human Rights Act. It is called the Protected Areas and Grounds under the Alberta Human Rights Act. For more information or to access our resources, please visit our website at albertahumanrights.ab.ca. Access our e-learning resources by clicking on the e-learning link in the Quick Links bar. To get copies of the information sheets or information bulletins, click on Information Sheets under the Quick Links bar. To view the videos on our YouTube channel, go to youtube.com/Alberta Human Rights or search Alberta Human Rights Commission in the search bar. You can also link to our YouTube channel from the e-learning page on our website. Finally, if you have a specific situation or want to learn more about making a human rights complaint, you can call the Commission's confidential inquiry line to speak to a human rights officer. The telephone numbers for the confidential inquiry lines are, for our Northern Regional Office, 780-427-7661, and for our Southern Regional Office, 403-297-6571. To call toll-free within Alberta, dial 310-0000, then enter the area code and telephone number. You can also contact us by email at educationcommunityservices@gov.ab.ca.